being here. My name is Fanny Jourdan, and I will present you FairTranslate, an English-French dataset for gender bias evaluation in machine translation system. This dataset is specifically designed to include non-binary gender, and with this dataset we run a lot of experiments to assess gender bias. So a little bit of context. Most benchmarks for gender bias in machine translation focus on binary gender, male and female, and FairTranslate introduced a new resource to evaluating how large language model handle non-binary gender in French-English translation. It's particularly interesting because French is a language where gender is deeply grammaticalized. For people who don't speak French, I will introduce the principal translation error in French. So for binary scenario, we have two types of translation error. The first is just one gender. So for example, in the example, you have the surgeon led an emergency. She made a crucial decision in record time. So surgeon is a female. But in the translation, we have only male translation. Chirurgien in French is male and chirurgienne is female. And the second type of error is mismatched. That means the model sees the surgeon in first and so translate in male version. And after they look she and translate in elle in French. And for non-binary scenario, we have two other type of problem. Is using they as a plural, and using the plural and mismatches with one gender. So that FairTranslate contains 2,418 English-French sentence pair covering 62 occupations. Every example appears in 3 gender variants, male, female, and inclusive gender, and carry metadata like stereotype, ambiguity, and more. All sentences have been annotated by human and guarantee their reliability. So I will present the dataset construction. We have two big steps for this construction. The first step is French sentence design and annotation. First, we select the occupation. So we select 62 occupations grouped in 3 groups. Male stereotyped like surgeon, female stereotyped like nurse, or gender balance occupation like doctor. Used to annotate stereotype, and this choice used to annotate stereotype and occupation variable and ensure diversity. With this occupation, we generate with GPT-4o and GPT-01 under human supervision the sentence. We manually edit for structure, variety, and contextual relevance. So we check all sentence and we change this. After, for each occupation, we have different type of ambiguity. The first, it's we have 5 ambiguous sentences, so we don't have gender clues in English. So we generate the sentence on French, but we look ourselves. It's not English explicit gender marker. And the 5 other, it's unambiguous, so we just have explicit gender marker, like the surgeon. The surgeon is kind. She helps me, so we have she. And we have 3 long unambiguous sentences. That means we have explicit gender marker, but only given after several sentences in the example. This type of sentence is allowed to look at the long context understanding of LLM. And after this, so we have, for each sentence, we have 3 gender variants written in masculine, feminine, and inclusive form. Only gendered elements are modified. So only occupation, satellite word, or something like this in French. And we assured the semantic context preserved across variants. So it's a very counterfactual element. And we have a final validation by human for this first step. And the second step is the translation to English. It's very easier to translate French to English than English to French, because in French we have a lot of gendered words. So it's easy to understand. For example, chirurgienne, it's translated to surgeon. Chirurgien, it's translated to surgeon also. So it's easy to do. And after we have translate with GPT, we have a second human review to all the sentence in English to verify we have a good structure and preserve across the gender variants. So we have a little experimental setup with this data set. The goal is evaluate gender bias in translation using FairTranslate in a zero-shot setting, so no training, no fine-tuning LLM. We use a different type of model. We use Gemma, Mistral, and 2 types of Llama. We have a prompting strategy, so the baseline is just translate the following sentence. Moral prompting is we say before this at the model, you are translation model without bias, gender bias, LGBT, QA friendly, etc. We have linguistic prompting. We give classic neutral word in French, like IL, une, 1.1, etc. And we have a moral plus linguistics, so we combine both. I just present a few results quickly, but in the paper we have a lot of other experiments, so don't hesitate to take a look. The general result is maltranslation lead, female trace, and inclusive dead last in every configuration for every model, for every prompting strategy. So bias is systemic, not model specific. On the table you can see for blue score, but we have also compute Comet score, and we have exactly the same result. So I just focus on little more for gender inclusive indicator, but we have also good result, interesting result for male and female difference. And for gender inclusive indicator, we have 806 sentence where the gender inclusive should be appear, and in fact the model translates only for the best case 86 sentence with gender inclusive indicator. So it's very low, and so we have a big problem with this type of model. And we can see just the prompting help a little, but it's not a silver bullet. And the same for singular they, we have the same problem. When we look the translation on singular they, it's most of the case it's plural indicator in French. So ils and else, it's a plural. So we can just the majority of the case it translates in plural. And ils, the good form on inclusive of singular they, the good inclusive pronoun, it's only appears sporadically. So yeah, for quickly conclusion, we introduced this new English-French dataset to enable fine-grained evaluation on gender-inclusive translation. And yeah, so thank you a lot. You have a resource if you want to find the dataset on Engine Phase, the paper on archive, and experimental on GitHub. Thank you.